An unholy matrimony of a chicken, a bat, and a lizard. The cockatrice is a beast most would hope to never see. But nature, or whatever created this thing, is not so kind. And sometimes we have to cross paths. Cockatrice are notorious for two things: their bad attitude and their ability to turn flesh into stone with their bite. They primarily use this ability in self-defense, or self-offense, considering they'll pick a fight with anything from a badger to an owlbear. One adventurer I know swore he even saw a cockatrice pick a fight with a dragon.
The battle has begun! Fight!
But unlike the basilisk, who uses petrification to hunt, immobilizing its prey, then crunching down on stone flesh with its strong jaws, the cockatrice usually feeds on just small game and bugs. Their petrification is weaker than the basilisk's, and can be healed with antidote distilled from the venom, from healing magics, or even just waiting long enough for it to wear off. But a group caught unaware can easily be surprised, petrified, and overwhelmed, so stay cautious. They are incredibly territorial, so merely being in their vicinity is enough to get you attacked. Despite everything I've said about this horrid annoyance of a monster, if there is some merit to the creature's pitiful existence, it's that it makes a variety of unique dishes. Let's discuss the culinary applications of the cockatrice. Although the cockatrice has a relatively small size when it comes to monsters, handling and butchering it requires a cautious approach. The first and most important step is to safely remove the head and neck. As the source of its petrifying ability, the head should be stored separately in a secure container, to prevent any accidental exposure. Even after death, the sharp beak and stone feathers can cut the butcher, and all it takes is a small nick and a drop of venom to be unexpectedly petrified. But, if processed correctly, apothecaries value the toxin for potion making, netting you a pretty penny. Once the head and neck are removed, begin plucking the feathers. While not inherently magical like those of many other avian monsters, cockatrice feathers are surprisingly tough and can be used for decorative purposes or even as quills for writing. The moniker stone chicken is an accurate one, and this primarily applies to the thick hide of the beast. As such, it's a bit difficult to butcher it properly without first removing this hide. A sharp blade and some elbow grease is usually more than enough to do so, but don't throw the hide out after. It can be tanned and used for equipment or sold to collectors. Next, open the body cavity and remove the internal organs. The liver and heart are particularly prized as they retain a rich, ferrous flavor with a hint of bitterness, which some culinarians liken to the taste of enchanted herbs, such as mousepurse and moondrop. These can be safely harvested as long as the head is properly removed first. Just make sure to give them a thorough wash before preparing. Finally, carve the beast as you would a large fowl, removing the breast meat and legs and the wings, and reserving the carcass for stock. Or keep it whole for some other applications. The choice is up to you and what you plan to do with the beast. While you might assume that the flavor of the beast is also like that of a stone chicken, it's a bit more stone than chicken, and particularly the damp, moss-ridden stones that are found deep within the gloomy caverns this beast resides in. The best way to describe this flavor is dank, in every sense of the word. The breast meat is the lightest in flavor compared to the other cuts, and if simply seared and served, you might be able to pass that flavor off as fishy. But the thigh meat is much more intense, especially when stewed or braised, which some describe as the smell of old dungeon brick. The reptilian tail almost tastes like another beast altogether, which some describe as almost like fermented cave mushrooms. Even I struggle to find accurate words for it, and writing about these things is my job. Now, I think this might be coming off as negative. Most of the terms I use don't have the most positive connotations, but it's not a bad flavor as much as a unique flavor, and it's quite sought after by certain culinarians, especially among dwarves who prize the intensely pungent stock you can make from the carcass. Plenty of foods aren't for everyone, and that's okay. Give it a shot before you judge it too harshly, because who knows if you'll be a fan. Now, how do we prepare it? The breast meat is best suited for roasting or grilling, leaving the texture light and fluffy and very tender. Just like your more common fowl, you don't want to overcook the breast meat, or else it will tighten up and get stringy and tough. The thighs are commonly braised in a cauldron with various herbs such as thyme, elf's purse, and moondrop. They go well with root vegetables and are commonly stewed. Those same intensely dank flavors can be balanced by a proficient chef, yielding a dish much more intense and enjoyable than anything you could get out of a run-of-the-mill chicken. The reptilian tail can be sliced into decently fatty chops depending on how well the cockatrice lived on smaller game. Those more adventurous eaters may also indulge in cockatrice feet, a similar texture to chicken feet, but much more complex in flavor and with a lot more meat on the bones. The back and carcass are best reserved for stock, especially when they are first roasted to yield more depth of flavor. Getting good browning on the bones and bits of leftover meat will elevate the final product. And don't forget about the wings. Although there's almost no meat whatsoever on them, they're full of collagen, ready to melt down into gelatin. Add these with your carcass to the stock pot. The end result might not be the most flexible in different dishes like beef or chicken stock, but it is intensely flavorful in the right applications, such as, well, stewed cockatrice feet. Beyond its culinary value, the cockatrice offers several non-culinary uses that are highly sought after by apothecaries and craftsmen alike. The creature's feathers, for instance, are prized for their durability and aesthetic appeal, making them a popular choice for both quills and decorative plumage in enchanted garments. The petrification sacs, if safely extracted from the head, can be used as potent ingredients in alchemical brews, such as in potions to temporarily harden the skin or by artificers to fortify armor. Skilled artisans may even incorporate the scales from the cockatrice's legs into light, flexible armor pieces, enhancing them with minor magical resistance. The hide itself, tough and reptilian, is often tanned and used for small pouches or straps that adventurers prefer due to their resilience. In fact, materials from the cockatrice are so synonymous with the term durable that many charlatans peddle fake cockatrice leather to unsuspecting marks, so make sure to check twice before you buy that cockatrice leather quiver. Let's move on to some dishes made from the cockatrice. This first one is less of a recipe than a discussion of methods, but one of the truly difficult culinary tasks is that of roasting a whole cockatrice. Different parts of the cockatrice body are made out of very different meat, ranging from the lighter meat of the breast to the dark meat of the thighs to the reptilian meat of the tail and lower legs. Properly roasting a cockatrice whole without overcooking any of the individual parts is a hefty challenge that some chefs have used different techniques to circumvent. One popular technique is to remove the backbone to lay the cockatrice flat on the cooking sheet to allow for more even distribution of heat. Other cooks simply separate the cockatrice down into parts and cook each one separately before arranging back onto the serving tray. This is a foolproof method, but it does compromise some of the aesthetic value and wow factor of a whole roast cockatrice at the dinner table. My personal preference is spit roasting. This slow, methodical turning is definitely the most labor intensive, but good fire management allows choice over how much to cook each area. This is far from easy, but it produces an amazing dish. No matter the method, a well-cooked roast cockatrice is a great centerpiece and talking point that will be discussed again and again and again. Begin by boiling the cockatrice feet in a cauldron of salted water for about 20 minutes, then drain and peel off any remaining scales or tough skin and clip off the long talons. In a large skillet, heat your oil over medium heat, then add chopped onion and garlic, sautéing until fragrant. Toss in chopped hot chilies, along with cumin seeds and spicy paprika to bloom in the oil. Remove everything from the skillet and mash it together in a pestle and mortar once softened, then add it back to the skillet with the cockatrice feet and enough cockatrice stock to cover it all. Allow the feet to stew for about an hour, reducing the sauce down and adding honey and butter at the end to make a glossy sauce, tossing until fully combined and seasoning to taste. Serve it hot and enjoy. This recipe was sent over to me by a friend at the Codex of Strings, and it's a fun one. First, smoke your cockatrice thighs over a low flame with hickory wood overnight, low and slow to impart intense smoky flavor. Once it's cooked, the meat is good for storage for weeks. When you want to make the donburi, heat some oil over medium heat in a large cast iron. Add minced garlic and ginger and sauté until fragrant. Add the smoked cockatrice to the pan, searing the skin side down, then deglaze the pan with rice wine and soy sauce. Let the liquids bubble and reduce slightly before adding stock to cover. Lower the heat to medium-low and let the thighs braise in the sauce for about 25 to 30 minutes, until the meat is tender and the sauce has thickened to become glossy. Serve it all over hot white rice and top with chopped scallions. If it weren't for their absolutely horrid attitude and deadly defense mechanism, cockatrice would be a worthwhile creature to breed for their unique culinary value and variety of non-culinary applications. But, alas, cooks and artisans will just have to make the most of the few chances they do get to cook with the beast. I'd say something philosophical about having too much of a good thing, but honestly, all this talk made me hungry for some cockatrice feet right now. Time to go on an adventure. Thank you for watching, and I'd like to thank Codex of Strings again for their Cockatrice Donburi recipe. I got a peek at the Pantry of the Multiverse, and it's an awesome book, which they've been kind enough to donate a digital key for me to give away. Just follow them on Instagram at Codex of Strings and comment below, and I'll choose one commenter on November 3rd, 2024 to win a copy of the book. I'm not sponsored by them, I just really like the product and reached out to see if I could give a few copies away to help promote it. As always, if you have any suggestions for future videos, feel free to let me know and join the Discord to discuss more eating monsters.